Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Change Talk. Um, I'm so glad that you guys are here with me and able to join this conversation. Um, if you're here, I'd ask that you share it with anybody who you think could benefit from today's topic, which I think is everybody. Tonight, we're going to be talking about self-care for a little bit, what it is, who needs it, why we need it, all that kind of good stuff. So just take a minute and share. I'm going to get started with introducing myself in case this is your first time joining us for the Change Talk broadcast. My name is Tiffany Jenkins. I am a licensed professional counselor and licensed substance abuse counselor and a certified clinical supervisor. I'm also the owner of Awakening Change Counseling Services. And I work with individuals, primarily individuals, some families, on issues related to their mental health, but also their professional development and leadership development. And so what I've done with this space, or what I've tried to do with this space, this is our fourth episode so far. What I've tried to do in this space is create a forum for me to provide you with some commentary on some of the issues that I work with. So we're talking leadership, we're talking behavioral health, things like that. And I'll start with some commentary. And then at the end, if you have any questions, you can jump right into the comment section as I'm going. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end. Just jump in as I'm going. Drop your comments into the comment section. And then at the end, I'll make sure that I answer all of those. So if you happen to be catching us on the replay, maybe you're not here right now with us live, but you're catching us on the replay, I would still encourage you to drop your comments in the comment box because I can see them. And I will respond to them because I think it's very important for us to have forums like this where we can ask questions from people like me, the mental health professionals. So tonight's show is really all about self-care. And I think that that's something that we all need right now. I would suggest that if you're watching us from YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Our YouTube channel, for those who may be on Facebook, our YouTube channel is just Change Talk. You can go in and subscribe, and then you'll get the notifications every time a new video is posted. So going forward, from time to time, I may drop some other content into our YouTube page that's not necessarily live. So you want to make sure that you're connected to us on YouTube as well. Let's see. Did I get all of our housekeeping stuff? Oh, if there's something that you would like for us to discuss, some topic that you'd love to kind of tackle in this forum, go to the website www.awakeningchange.org. There's a contact us page there. Drop in your suggestions for whatever topic you'd like to see me tackle. This week was actually rescheduled from last week, but I still think that the topic is kind of relevant because there are a few what we call awareness months. In the month of October, we know about domestic violence and breast cancer prevention, but October is also National Women's Small Business Month. And so with all of those things, it doesn't matter which of the awareness topics we're hitting on, self-care is still really important. So I didn't want to just kind of scrap this topic. I think it's very relevant this week, especially after some of the, we'll say, political happenings. If you watched the debates, there are a lot of people who feel very strongly about some of what happened in the presidential debates this week. There's still a lot of, racial injustice that's happening. We had the Breonna Taylor verdict since the last time we met. So I think this is really important, a really important topic that we're going to get into. So first of all, let's start with what is self-care. right? Most people, when we say something about self-care, the first thing they think about is like a spa day. Like you treat yourself, it's manis and petties and, just kind of brunching with bestie or hanging out, on the side of a pool or in a Caribbean island or something like that. Yes, those all can be self-care. Those are forms of self-care, but that's not really all that self-care is. And when we say self-care, just because it has the word self in it, I think the main thing I want you to understand is self-care really isn't selfish. What I define self-care as with the folks that I work with, particularly leaders, and like I said, it's female National Women's Small Business Month. So particularly with my women who are business owners, what I like to stress is that self-care is really the best gift that you can give to the people you care about. I'm going to say that again. Self-care is the best gift that you can give to the people that you care about. Why? Because we often hear that you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And while that is true, I would challenge you that you should not be pouring from the cup to begin with. The cup is you. It's everything that you need to be healthy, to be happy, to be whole. So you are the cup. Yes, you need to be full. But what I always challenge folks to think of is you should really be pouring from the saucer. You should be so full. You should have so much. You should be so happy, so healthy, so full, so taken care of in your own self that you have something left to give. If you're pouring from your cup, you're taking something that you need for yourself and giving it out to somebody else. So think about that for a minute. We've always been told don't pour from an empty cup. And that's true, right? And we work really hard to keep our cup full, but we don't work really hard to keep our cup so full that we have something to spare, right? So really practical example. If you know that you only have $5 to feed your family, and you know that it's going to take all $5 to feed your family, pouring from the cup means that you find a way to feed maybe everybody else and you just kind of fast that night with $4 because I ask you for the one, right? That's pouring from the cup. Pouring from the saucer means it takes $5 to feed your family. You have $10 so that when I ask for that one, you don't have to take from your cup. You don't have to take from what you need. You don't have to sacrifice. You have enough. You're living in a place of abundance, right? And so the overflow is where that dollar comes from. Now, we think about that in money, and it's really easy and it's really concrete to think of. But most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, most of us don't operate on that principle when it comes to our own time, when it comes to our energy, when it comes to our emotional investment that we put in other folks. We always are figuring out how to make do, right? We have kind of propped up this idea of suffering. We've glamorized suffering and struggle to the point where we think that somehow it is honorable to keep pouring from that cup. And that's not exactly what it is. When you are full, when you have overflow, when you're at your best, right? There's more of you to give to the people that you care about. And not just more available, but it's of better quality. To go back to the food example, I'd rather eat when the food first comes out. Like one of my favorite things is macaroni and cheese, right? And my aunt Sheila, who just passed away, was the mac and cheese queen, right? I would rather have the mac and cheese, that corner scoop right as it comes out of the oven. What I don't want is to be one of the folks who were lollygagging somewhere off yonder, who somebody had to scrape the edges of the pan to give me some mac and cheese. That's what we're doing. We're scraping the edges when really we were literally created to flow very effortlessly. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, life is all sunshine and tulips. That's not what I'm saying. But we make things so much harder for ourselves because we're not our own priority. And when we learn to make ourselves a priority, we can be better rested, we can be healthier, we can be happier, we can be more emotionally present for the moments that really matter. Right. So I know you're like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, what does self-care look like? Well, I'm kind of glad you asked. All right. So there are 3 things that I'm going to tell you that are important as you're building your your self-care plan. And let me say this, self-care is universally applicable to anyone who has a self. Do you have a self? Are you a self? Then self-care is for you. Um, so I want you to understand that it's not it's not confined to how much money you make. It's not even confined to the pandemic, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Self-care really is the simple thing that you do to care for all of you every day, right? So how do we make this thing work, Tiff? Like, what does this look like? What really is self-care? Well, the first thing you have to do is schedule it. If it's in your calendar, you have to treat it just like you would treat your job. Most of us, it doesn't matter how much sleep we didn't get the night before. It doesn't matter, what happened. If you have to be up and at work at 8 a.m., I don't care if you went to bed at 6, like you'll find some way to get up at 8 a.m. Treat yourself with that same level of intention and priority. If you start with just 5 minutes a day and you schedule that 5 minutes and you stay consistent with sticking to that schedule, you'd be amazed at how much better you feel, right? So put yourself on your calendar. And again, it doesn't have to be long periods, but what you'll start to find is the more time that you give to yourself, the more it becomes a priority to have that time, because you'll really start to see a significant difference in what you're putting out. So again, goes back to self-care isn't really selfish. It's really about making you the best performer you can be. Okay. The other thing is keep it simple. It does not have to be an elaborate, extravagant plan. You don't have to come up with, 2 hours a day of anything, right? Some people are that intentional. They can set aside the first hour and the last hour of their day to do what feeds them, whether that's meditation and prayer, whether it's yoga, whether it's working out, whatever it is. But you got to find a plan that works for you. And especially if you're starting out, you got to keep it simple. If it's simple, you're more likely to follow through with the plan that you set for yourself. Right? If it's super complicated, you're going to defeat yourself before you even get started. And that's not what we want you to do. All right. And then the third thing is just stick with it. Stick with it. Make self-care a habit. And it doesn't mean that you have to stick with that one thing all the time. The goal is to get you to stick with prioritizing you over your to-do list, right? Making yourself and your needs and your peace of mind. I always say peace of mind is priceless. Making your peace of mind the priority, and how you get there, again, really determined by what works for you. What works for me might not work for you, right? So for me, self-care takes a few different forms, right? One of them is coffee. Anybody who knows me knows that if you see me, I am likely, I don't care what time of the day it is, I am likely to have a coffee cup in hand, right? That is my self-care. That's my sanity, my little cup of sanity, right? So for me, starting my morning and being able to actually finish a cup of coffee without having to, I hate reheating coffee. So that's like my big thing. If I can finish a cup of coffee while it's nice and hot, That's my happy place, right? Sometimes I do that while I'm in session with clients and we're talking and we both have our coffee or whatever and we're sipping. At other times, I need a little bit more time to myself. So I'll sit and sip my coffee somewhere where there's no kids, there's no clients, there's no hubby, there's no family, just me spending time with myself. The other way that I like to practice self-care is once a month I get a massage and twice a month I go get a mani-pedi, right? Those things again aren't everyday things. Those are things that are sprinkled in there, right? Yoga every week, getting back to it. But I realized that when we were doing that consistently, not only did I feel better mentally, but I felt better physically. Um, Incorporating a fitness regimen. So every day, my self care doesn't look the same. It doesn't have to be a rubber stamp every day. How I take care of myself that day just depends on what I have going on. There are some times that for me, self care is literally just when I wake up and the alarm clock goes off, spending that extra 20, 30 minutes. And yes, it's 20, 30 minutes. It's not the quick snooze. Just sitting there with my thoughts, giving myself the opportunity to collect my thoughts for the day. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is these aren't like super elaborate plans. Just figure out what works for you. But in the beginning of this process, you're going to have to schedule it because it's going to feel so foreign to you that it just doesn't it's not natural, right? So those are my three things for you. I want you to realize that self-care is not selfish. It is literally the greatest gift you can give to people you care about. You have to schedule it. You have to keep it simple. But just know that if you stick with it, you'll see really good results, right? So if you visit the website, it's scrolling down at the bottom of the screen right now. If you visit the website, www.awakeningchange.org, on that page, you'll find an ebook that I wrote called Give Yourself Grace. It's a $5 ebook, very quick read. And in that book, I have some strategies for self-care that are pandemic proof. We're still in the midst of a pandemic, right? So some of the things that you might like to do or you may have been used to doing for yourself may or may not be available to you. Yes, the world is opening up a little bit more, but you might find that the things that you're accustomed to doing for yourself, like traveling, for example, we're not really able to do that as much as we might like and with as much freedom as we might like. It's okay. This there Self-care is one of those things that it's not the only limit is you, right? That's the best way to put it. The only limit is you. The more creative you can get with your plan, the more likely you are to stick with it. So those are the tips for today. Let's look at our comment section and let's see. Hey, Carrion. I guess I should show these, right? Carrion always calls me Dr. T. I'm not quite there yet. But I am in the process. I'm a little bit closer, Carrion, than I was before. So hopefully, and I think we're on target for the end of next year. But thanks for stopping by. Hey, Tug. This is my brother from another mother. I used to call him. Prioritizing your mental and physical fitness is prioritizing your love. It is, because when you are physically well, you can be around longer for your loved ones, right? And really be able to enjoy life with them instead of, being laid up somewhere and, all of that good stuff. Come through mac and cheese from the sides. Yes, Mary. Yes, yes, yes. And Mary knows all too well about having to prioritize self-care because she's also in the field. And we often talk about that balance of, work and life. So shout out to you. I think I've addressed everybody's comments. Again, Self-care does not have to be complicated. I really want that to be your takeaway tonight. Self-care doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't. The simpler it is, the more likely you are to stick with it. And the more you stick with it, the better you will absolutely feel. So again, this is just my weekly rant. We'll call it on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Change Talk YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. Oh my goodness. Hey, Mike, the Pizza King of Norfolk. If you guys are anywhere near Norfolk, Virginia, I need you to go and check out, what is it? Mike, put your, I need you to post your info for the pizzas. This guy has been a pizza nut ever since I met him. And now he is making his own pizzas and they look phenomenal. And I am super jealous that I am nowhere near Norfolk at the moment. Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, I think he's in. Home Slice Pizza, that's the name of it. He's a little slow typing. So Home Slice Pizza, find him on Facebook. And if you're in the area, there we go. Home Slice Street Pizza. If you're in the area, I want you to go and check him out. Mike, I love what you're doing. It looks amazing, especially that baked pasta. I think you made that for me one time. So if it's as good as it was then yeah. Hey Brina. Another one who knows about this delicate balance of work, life, family, and who knows the importance of self-care. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Like I said, visit the website, www.awakeningchange.org. And I want you to check out the book. The book is only $5. Like I said, it's a quick read and it's got COVID-proof strategies. I promise you, anybody can pick up this book and walk away with a comprehensive plan for their self-care. One other thing, if you have not gone by the website lately, I would encourage you to go by, subscribe to our mailing list. We have a couple of really interesting projects that are coming out in the next couple of months. Hey, Mom. Of course, you know, you got to get the one shout out from your mom, right? If you're not already subscribed to our mailing list, I would encourage you to subscribe to our mailing list and you will be able to stay up to date with a lot of some very, very big projects. Well, big for me that I'm excited about that should be coming out between the end of this year and very early next year. I've been getting a lot of requests for clinical supervision and mentorship and just leadership training for folks who are in this field and do this work. So if you are in the field and you're looking for supervision or leadership training, executive leadership training, definitely you want to be on that mailing list so that you are in the first cohort because it will be limited to 10 people. So that's just a little drip for you guys. But I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your Thursday evening. I'm going to try to do this every Thursday at 9. So maybe if you didn't see the announcement, because algorithms can be interesting things, just make sure to put it on your calendar. Make sure that you're subscribed to, again, the YouTube channel and that you like us on Facebook. And like I said, go check out my boy Mike at Home Slice Street Pizza if you're in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the love and support. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Anything that you want us to tackle, nothing's really off limits. Drop it in the comment box, send me a direct message, or even go to the website and drop it in the contact us page. All right. Thanks so much for coming by. You guys stay safe and be well. Love you all. Take care of yourself.